Hello, YouTube divers. This is Water Dive 122, and I want to welcome you all to another episode of Magic Metal Mondays. So, today we are going to be doing another album review. Today we're going to be looking at the latest studio album from Austrian symphonic metal crew Edenbridge, entitled Set the Dark on Fire. This is the 12th full-length studio album from this very, very underrated symphonic metal band from Austria. And yeah, Edenbridge has basically been responsible for some of the most unique and some of the most underrated albums in all of power metal and symphonic metal. Their 2008 studio album in particular, My Earth Dream, is not only my favorite album from them, but one of my favorite symphonic metal albums of all time. I really loved how dark and heavy and just earthy that album was, and yet it presented so much beauty and so much elegance that it just made the whole listening experience totally unbelievable. But even outside of My Earth Dream, they've released a lot of great albums over the years. You have Arcana from 2001, Aphelion from 2003, Shine from 2004, and The Grand Design from 2006. But I mean, also as of recently, Edenbridge also delivered some pretty solid albums like Solitaire from 2010, The Bonding from 2013, and The Great Momentum from 2017. But if you've seen my Edenbridge album ranking, then you know. If not, I will tell you. I'm not a really big fan of their latest studio albums. Shangri-La from 2022. I mean, it's not bad, but it was kind of mediocre compared to some of their other stuff. And then Dynamite from 2019 is what I think is their worst album. But I mean, like, outside of that, and even the debut Sunrise in Eden from 2000, it's pretty good. Like, it has its moments. But yeah, mainly just for those latest two studio albums. I would be lying if I told you if I was just a little bit skeptical about this brand new studio album. But, well, we got a lot to talk about with this album, so let's get started. So the lineup of this album is still pretty much the same from the previous couple of records. You have Sabine Edelsbacher on lead vocals. You have Lanville and Sven Sevens sharing guitar duties. Lanville, of course, being being the main songwriter and orchestrator. And he also plays a bunch of different instruments on here. He plays guitars, keyboards, mandolin, hammer, dulcimer, etc. Then on the bass, you have Stephen Hall. And then on the drums, you have Johannes Jungreithmeyer. I probably butchered the heck out of that last name, but sorry in advance. Yeah, so that's your lineup for this record. And there's 10 tracks on the record, well, technically 13, because the last song is divided up into 4 mini tracks, but I consider it to just be one song with 4 movements. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into it, so let's get started. The opening track is The Ghost Ship Diaries, and this is one of their best album openers, if you ask me. I really love just how dark and haunting, yet strangely charming and elegant this song is. It definitely reminds me of some of the best tracks from My Earth Dream, and of course, I really love that. But yeah, The Ghost Ship Diaries is absolutely one of their best songs since the My Earth Dream album, and one of the best album openers of their entire career up to this point. Then we get one of 3 singles that was released from the record, Cosmic Embrace. And honestly, this is probably my favorite out of the 3 singles from the record. I love Sabine's vocal performance on here. This is really where Sabine's more operatic and classically rich tone really benefits the song, in my opinion. And of course, the music from Lonville, once again, it always lives up to the expectations of a Deliverance. But yeah, Cosmic Embrace, one of the best songs on the album. Then we get another single, the second single from the album, Where the Wild Things Are, which is a very Irish, folk-esque metal song. It definitely reminds me a lot of those types of songs from the Dynamite album. And honestly, that was one of the things I liked about Dynamite. I did like its folky nature on a couple of tracks. But yeah, Where the Wild Things Are, I love it when Edenbridge experiments rather with folky metal. I really like that, and the instrumentation on here is just brilliant. Also, go check out the music video for this because it is fantastic. Same thing with Cosmic Embrace too. Then we get one of two interlude tracks on here, the Tears of Prophets. And while this is an interlude track, about 1.5 minutes long, it is so gorgeous. That atmosphere is just beautiful. I absolutely love Tears of the Prophets. One of the best symphonic power metal interludes that I've heard. Then we get the 7-minute long Our Place Among the Stars, and while I definitely think this is a really great song, I think there are some better choices to be had on this album. This is like one of those not quite as good as the others type of songs, if you know what I'm saying. It's a great song. It would probably be one of, if not the best song on a different record. But for here, yeah, I just think there are stronger songs overall. But this is definitely a great song. Then we get the lead single, which is the title track, Set the Dark on Fire. And I made a song review a couple of days after it dropped, and I mentioned it was one of the heaviest songs that they've done recently and possibly ever. And it was also very haunting. And yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, that chorus still gives me the shivers. It is so haunting and dark. I love it. And of course, those riffs, mega juicy and punchy. I love it. Yeah, Set the Dark on Fire, absolutely one of the best songs on this album. And then we get the ballad on this album, Bonded by the Light. And Edenbridge are no strangers to delivering some great ballads. But in my opinion, again, this is another one of those not quite as good as the others songs on this album. And honestly, in their whole library of ballads, I personally think this is one of their more average ballads, if you ask me. Like, I wouldn't hold this in the same regard as songs like The Final Curtain from Aphelion or Whale Rider from My Earth Dream, or and both of the ballads from The Grand Design. But yeah, but as it stands, Bonded by Blood, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good track in of its own self. Then we get the second interlude track on here, Divine Dawn Reveal. And while I think Tears of the Prophets is a better interlude track, mainly just because of those gorgeous atmospheres and accompaniment arrangements, Divine Dawn Reveal is a very nice interlude in of its own self. I could easily see this being an interlude track on a record like The Great Momentum, for example. I really think it would fit really well on that record. Then we get another pretty punchy track, Lighthouse. It's about 5.5 minutes long. Personally, I think this is the weakest track on the album, but it is still a very punchy song, and I think it fits perfectly on this album. While I'm not really the most massive fan of this song, I do think that where it fits on the album is the perfect place. I I dig it. I dig it, but it's another one of those not quite as good as the other songs on this album. And then we get the epic on this album. And Edenbridge, especially on these later studio albums, they always end off the album with like a 10+ minute epic, and this record is no different. This time we get the 4-part Spark of the Everflame. And in my opinion, this is the best song on the album and probably their strongest epic song since the title track from the Bonding album, the first Bonding, part 1, the Bonding part 1. I think it's their best epic since that. This is just very, very well written, very well orchestrated, very well performed. It's just basically this whole entire album in a nutshell. It doesn't matter which movement you listen to, you're going to have fun. But if I did have to pick a favorite movement, it would be the second one, The Winding Road to Evermore, which just has one of the heaviest and juiciest riffs that Lonville has written for Edenbridge up to this point. It is so infectious. It is so amazing. The whole song, the whole movement just feels like something you could dance along to. But yeah, I mean, the first and third movements act as interludes, and the second and fourth movements act as like the main meat of the song. In total, I think Spark of the Everflame is around 12 to 13 minutes long, but not a single second is wasted. This is such an amazing song. Such an amazing song. At the very least, go check out the second movement, The Winding Road to Evermore. It is just one of the most infectious Edenbridge songs you'll hear in this modern output, and possibly in their entire career. Debate that amongst yourselves in the comments. But yeah, but Spark of Everflame, masterpiece of an epic song, one of the best epics from Edenbridge. But yeah, overall, Set the Dark on Fire absolutely blew me away. This album is fantastic. It sounds really clean and really professional. This is the best sounding album they've done since My Earth Dream. This is the best written album that they've done since My Earth Dream. This is really just the best album they've done since My Earth Dream, in my opinion. And honestly, this might be one of my favorite Edenbridge albums. I don't think it's quite as good as My Earth Dream or Shine or Aphelion, but yeah, this is easily, without a doubt, the best album they've done in their modern output. Basically every album they've made since My Earth Dream. And for that, well, I gotta give it a score of 9.5 out of 10. I think this album is absolutely incredible. And it just proves that while Edenbridge did have a setback in the latter half of the 2010s and early 2020s, they have got their crap together. Everything is firing on all cylinders on this album. Sabine, her vocal performance on this record is so amazing. Like, this is the best I've heard her sound since the Bonding, which is absolutely insane, but she sounds amazing on this album. And of course, the music is always consistently good, other than Dynamine for like a good chunk of that. But yeah, I mean, the riffs are so infectious and tasty. The key modulations and the songwriting just feels so dark and unpredictable in a lot of these tracks. It is such a fresh album, and that's what I've been missing from Edenbridge since the Great Momentum and arguably the Bonding, if you want to go back that far. But I love how dark and haunting this album is. Gives me a lot of vibes of My Earth Dream. 9.5 out of 10. This album is fantastic. And if you're a diehard Edenbridge fan, You are going to love this album. But yeah, so with that said, that concludes this edition of Magic Metal Mondays. Thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is WaterDive122 signing out, ready to dive into more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.